Now,
My challenge.
last week we spoke about how Gen V was coming,
We did.
and I said I was very excited to watch it,
But we won't be discussing it.
but we probably won't get to discuss it because Hori's not even watched The Boys.
And
And you went, go on.
maybe. I was like,
You, you took that as a challenge on your ability to
did.
binge content, and you went, I will watch all of The Boys and Gen V so that we can discuss it next week. And I went, you've backed yourself into a corner here, and I'm gonna let you.
Mm-hmm.
So before we talk about this, would you like to admit defeat?
I will admit defeat due to my own poor planning. And that's the sad thing. It's like, I know had I been more organized, literally by one day, like if I'd prioritized watching it more like one day sooner, I would have got through it all. I do have to admit something.
Go on.
I cheated a little.
Okay, what are you watching on, like 125?
1.5.
There we go. ADHD brain go brrr.
Do you know what though? Didn't really make any, like, I did it for a couple of episodes. I was like, am I actually like I was paying attention. It was all going in. I was like, hang on, maybe I should watch it on one so I don't miss. And then I put it on one. I was like, this feels, I can't do this. I need it on 1.5. My brain actually enjoyed it more on 1.5.
When I'm watching something for the first time, I have to watch it at the speed it was made for. If I ever need to re-watch something quickly because I've like forgotten something, 1.5. Or like if I've like was falling asleep during an episode, and I'm like, I've definitely missed something for like the entire show that I need to watch here, but I've seen a lot of this episode. Get to the point I last clearly remember, whack it on 1.5, I'm caught up, good to go. It's a real life hack.
I will say, for the most part, it didn't even like feel noticeable to me. That's obviously just how my brain is. There's a couple of bits, like there was a couple of fight scenes in like season 1 where I'm like, oh, that felt like really weirdly quick. Should slow that back down and rewatch that fight. But like for the most part, it was unnoticeable. And it has meant that I got all the way through to, so I finished season 3, episode 3. So on to the newer season of stuff.
So you've seen that scene at the beginning of season 3.
Yes. And obviously remembered you talking about.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay.
At what point during that scene did you realize, oh shit, this is that?
When I think it was the moment obviously the two of them are in the room.
Yeah.
And then he pulls his pants down, and I thought he was standing by the table to go in the ass. And I was like, oh, he's gonna go small, and then it clicked. I was like, oh wait, no, this is that scene Conor was on about. And then when it's like the next angle is like him stood in front, and I'm like, okay, I know where this is going. I didn't remember that. I can't remember if you said that it's because he sneezed, but then it's like, yeah, the sneeze. As soon as he started, I was like, oh shit, he's about to. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
and the freak out.
I mean, the show's brilliant. So
yes, I'm going to say this now. I will admit that you were right. I do enjoy this show.
Yeah,
but I will also say I never doubted that I wouldn't.
No.
I just
I
was just making you wait.
Deadlines to put yourself on.
Yeah, I was just making you wait for the sake of making you wait.
Yeah, it's a change of pace from a lot of the other stuff we deal with.
Yes.
And it's one of these things, and I've seen this come in like this discussion coming back up with Gen V because it is very similar in style, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Where this show takes the piss out of the left and right wing constantly.
Yeah.
Now, I, as someone with intelligence, know when they're taking the piss out of me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, that's really funny. Cool. I move on. The right wing don't understand when they're the butt of the joke. So genuinely, this show's kind of unfortunately got a very large subsection of fans who are right wing as it gets, who think this show is designed for them. And they don't get that they're the butt of the joke.
Yeah. There's so many like just jokes about everything in our culture nowadays.
100%. It's it's what art should be, and I don't mean this in the way of like, oh, it's high art, darling. We've got to, but it is still art.
No, I
Like
know what you
there
mean. Yeah.
is everything that's written or created is art. Whether it's good art or bad art is completely separate, but it is art, and a lot of really good art, or a lot of art I personally
Mm,
enjoy, is a reflection of society. And that's all this is. In reality, if people had superpowers,
yeah.
this isn't a million miles off the world you'd get.
No, and it's also not a million miles off, like, actually what would be going on in the fact that it was a bunch of babies sold as test subjects.
Oh, see, I wasn't sure if you'd got to that bit yet.
So, yeah, so season 1 and 2 has already gone through all that.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I will say there's actually quite surprisingly quite a few twists that caught me
Yeah, no, no, it's
that, like,
it
I'm
keeps you
like,
on your toes.
yeah, I'm like, "Oh, I understand now what's going on." Like, the first twist of Homelander taking the plane out, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, shit, he isn't this, like, poster boy."
Mm.
Like, obviously, I
I mean,
knew
yeah, I was
from
about to say that
discussion
that,
and, like, I know
but
he's
the
a
way it
dick.
does it is fucking brutal, isn't it?
Yeah, and then but then the twist of, like, oh, he wasn't I like, at first, I'm like, "Oh, he was, like, kind of backhand told by his boss to go do that." And then it's like, "Oh, no, he did that off his own regard." I'm like, "Okay, I see now the sort of person he is." And then it's like it keeps, like, twisting there's more about him that I'm like, "Oh, shit." Or, like, something else comes up. Someone who I think is in charge, "Oh, no, you're not the person in charge running things." Then it's like there's so many points like that where I'm like, I think I know who's running the shit, and then, "Oh, no," someone else comes along and it's like, "No, they're not. They're actually the mole." And
Yeah.
so, yeah,
Did you
season
enjoy the Homelander versus Baby rivalry?
the Homelander versus Baby.
In season one, your woman who he's like in love with, and he gets jealous of the baby
Yes.
because
Yeah, yeah,
she's
yeah,
getting all
yeah.
the milk.
Yes.
Do you know what? Do you know what's really funny? I've got a nice little fun fact for you.
Oh, here we go.
I'm not sure if you will have seen the actual scene yet, but you might have seen bits that allude to it. Anthony Starr didn't want to put on loads of muscle for the role of Homelander,
Okay.
so they made a muscle suit that's padded.
Yeah.
But instead of just never having him out of the suit, instead they made it canon that Homelander is actually scrawny as fuck and can't build muscle. So Homelander also actually wears a padded suit.
Okay, so I don't know if they've I've seen the scene of him on the couch naked after he's
Okay,
just
cool.
told
So
the world I do what the fuck. I'm sick of being
yeah,
told what
okay,
to
cool.
do. And
So
I
yeah,
did
so
think
that's the
he looks a
scene.
little scrawny there, but I didn't
Yeah,
like
so
pay enough
that's like a
attention.
canon thing that
Okay.
Homelander is actually a scrawny little bitch because he can't build muscle. But because he's so worried about his public perception,
Yeah.
he has the muscle suit, which he wears
Gotcha.
all the time so that no one ever sees him scrawny.
Gotcha.
Um,
Um. Yeah. No. So I've I've enjoyed the development of like Butcher and his crew and how they've gone through different things. I so yeah, the baby stuff happened in season 2.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure where it kind of well at the end of season 1 it like alluded to well you had the laser baby,
yeah,
so you knew they were being injected. Then it comes out in season 2 they're like all of them are fake,
yeah,
and they've all which I was like, oh shit, I didn't expect that.
yeah.
Like I thought, okay, some of the ones in from like the public facing ones have probably been
They've been
well,
juicing to be more powerful or whatever.
yeah, or like they're like Homelander, they're from a lab, like they were raised that. Like
Yeah,
I pictured that, but then when it came out, like all soups are just test subjects essentially.
yeah. The parents were fucking paid to have their
Yeah,
baby injected.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh shit, that kind of changes a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
It gets rid of the whole "I'm special" vibe, doesn't it?
yeah, real quick. And like we
Mm-hmm.
said, like if this was real world, probably the most realistic thing that would happen is like, oh wait,
Yeah.
all the superheroes are actually just government like funded.
So the funny thing is, like, obviously, the way Vought operates is like it's media and sport industries kind of mixed.
Yes.
So as a result, you have what we see with sports people all the time. They're idolized by people for what they can do,
Hmm.
and their entire job is doing what they can do, but then hiding the shitty parts of their personality.
Yeah.
And it's the exact same thing. The only difference is when a soup wants to do cocaine and have sex with random people,
Hmm.
there's a chance they destroy their lower half of their body and
Yes.
eviscerate them.
Or crush someone's head.
Yes. And that's the big difference. Um, and it's just in a world where we have so much superhero content, and I always want more superhero content, despite knowing that that's going to reduce the quality.
Hmm.
This was a nice change of pace at the time. I know it doesn't feel like a change of pace anymore, but
Yeah.
at the time, it was
I have
so needed.
I have to say also, like, it's nice to see the side, like, obviously the whole thing is a lot more on the evil side of things, and like superheroes not being these perfect things, but it's like
Yeah,
it's cool to see the side also like touched on of like victims of superheroes, and like actually going into like, yeah, that fight just killed like 30, like 300 people, like not ignoring like MCU does, which is like where you see a building get destroyed, and you're like, I'm pretty sure a lot of people would have just died in that, but they never talk about it. Whereas in this, it's like the opening episode is Huey's girlfriend getting like eviscerated, and I was like, oh shit,
yeah.
she just
It
got
it
like,
it pulls no punches for that.
and I was like, I knew, like, obviously I know what to expect from the show, but I'd never seen like that spoiled or anything, and it's like,
Yeah,
oh, we're just starting with this, okay.
yeah, yeah.
Um, the so
It's so good. But you're right. It's so funny to see them handle things like victims because, and this is quite different. But after 9/11, Marvel did
yeah,
a comic with a lot of New York-based characters
hmm,
all being upset at what had happened.
yeah,
But included in that comic was Magneto and Doctor Doom saying how terrible and unthinkable it was.
right,
And that comic gets mocked a lot because it's like, guys, 9/11's a Tuesday for you when you're like in
hmm,
full rampage mode. That doesn't make any sense.
yeah,
But it was just supposed to be like a national mourning thing.
yeah,
And it is interesting to just see no one wants to admit that superheroes get people killed. It's not something that really gets discussed. You just have a Vought lawyer turn up, give you a
hmm,
check for
yeah,
however much. How much was it? Like 10 grand? Not even.
yeah. I think Huey got offered like 14,000. Some of them got offered like there's that
Yeah.
episode where they go to the kind of AA meeting of survivors of like, and
Yes.
there's the, I'm like, hang on a second, that's the marketing guy.
Yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, my it was like shoving my dick in liquid nitrogen, and it just snapped off. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh shit, that's like a thing that would, that you don't even consider. Like, you think obviously, oh, that building got destroyed, probably a lot of people died, but there's also situations where like minimal like instances, and very realistically so, would get NDA'd, paid off, shoved under a rug.
100%, because think about like Homelander, like I said, in the terms of like a superstar who
Hmm.
earns Vought money. Yeah, they're gonna make sure Homelander he's got prime real estate in New York. He's got everything he's paid for. All he really cares about is being loved. So they probably milk him for every penny he's worth, and he doesn't want that much.
Yeah.
So I mean, think how much films with Homelander makes, and the toys of Homelander, and the Halloween
Oh yeah,
costumes,
I
and
love the kind of sly dig at the MCU and all of that stuff.
oh yeah, 100%. And they mock all of it. And it's even. It's really really good so far. Gen V is just as good, if not better.
Okay.
I like the way they're telling their story a lot more,
Hmm.
and they've been a bit more unique with their powers,
Okay.
which is fun. Um, so that's interesting. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I don't think you've met.
So I'm up to
You've
the
not.
bit. So I've watched up to episode 3. Season 3 started with Huey working the job with the congresswoman,
Yeah,
and you think, oh shit, someone that's like, we'd had a few situations where people's, and at the end of the season 2, heads were exploding.
yeah,
So my theory as season 2 was closing out was well, there's that girl that escaped the facility who can like crush things. Is it just her? Um, because I think she's still just unknown to me at the moment. What the fuck happened to her? Um, didn't piece it together. I was like, okay. Then I was like, I know there's the tiny guy because we'd seen him in like a party clip. And I was like, is it the tiny guy just jumping into people's heads and like popping them somehow? I don't know. I was like, something's going on here that's a lot more calculated. And then obviously I've had the reveal now in season 3 that she is a soup, and then the reveal that, oh shit, she is working for Vaughn, and again twisted, like I thought I know who was against them and who was like in charge, and then it's like, oh no, this is all fucking planted. Like Vaughn's just in control of everything.
Yeah,
Um we
Vought
had the
owns
whole
everything.
Nazi stuff as well, which
Stormfront in season 2 was
yeah, that
phenomenal.
when they realize she's a Nazi, I'm like, oh shit, this is gonna get interesting. And then
One
it
of
like
my
really plays out how much of a Nazi
w-
she is.
yeah, one of my favorite scenes is when they go to get his son,
Mm,
and she's like, "It's called white genocide," and even Homelander kind of pulls a face like, "The fuck do you mean white genocide? We're fine."
yeah,
Even he's like, "Are you?"
it's sounding a bit extreme here.
Yeah, he's like, "I know I kill people when they disagree with me, but
And I let
you're
planes
crazy."
crash. Yeah, she was like, I enjoyed her character, how she was like, when she first got introduced, I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, we've got some like Gen Z fucking live streaming everything, think she's like the shit. Then it turns out she's a Nazi, and she was. Then it turns out she was planted by the guy in
Yeah,
charge. Then it's like, oh shit, she's old as fuck, and she's actually a Nazi. Then it's like, oh wait,
yeah.
no, she was married to a Nazi. She
She
is
she was
old.
married to the guy who created
Yeah,
superheroes.
yeah,
And I think that's the big thing that's not really been discussed too much because Vought have covered it, is the fact that superpowers come from Nazi scientists.
yeah, and
Like a lot of technological discoveries after World War
yeah,
II, Nazi scientists are involved in a lot of it, and that's just things people don't want to discuss. Again, very topical.
yeah. So
Um,
season
but
3, like yeah, that Congresswoman's got revealed. She's the head popper. They haven't done anything about it yet. And what else has happened? Oh, Billy was a dick to to the kid.
yeah,
They found out um the colonel woman.
yeah,
They found out a bit about her story of what she was doing in Nicaragua.
yeah.
Um and
Oh, you're not deep into the Black Noir story yet, are you? That's a little bit later
I've
in the series.
so all I've seen is I've seen him without his mask on in that flashback.
In the first flashback,
Yes, and he gets his face melted.
we're gonna have a big discussion next week about Black Noir
Okay, because that got obviously revealed. I'm like, oh shit, this is gonna explain why the fuck he doesn't talk, and he's just mysterious as fuck.
because Black Noir in the comics is completely different,
Oh, okay,
like completely different.
okay,
So everyone was a bit curious. They're like, this is obviously not what he is in this show. They've
hmm
clearly changed that. So what is he?
yeah,
Um, and me and you are gonna have a big discussion about that next week
okay,
because it might be one of the best, albeit quickest, arcs in television.
okay.
I adore it with all my heart.
So obviously they're going after oh, his name's gone out of my head now. The
Homelander.
old superhero guy. Well, they're trying to find out how he died, not
Oh,
under
they're
nuclear.
trying to find out how Soldier Boy died
Soldier Boy.
because they
That's it.
want
My
the
brain.
weapon that killed him.
Yeah, and I've
Yeah,
seen the scene where Billy's gone and confronted Gunpowder, and he's taken a good old injection of the green shit, not um V, but the
yeah,
whatever they called it, V94 or whatever it is.
yeah,
So I've seen him get to use powers once, and then they're doing the story, and he goes and throws up, and then this season 3 ends with him throwing up on Huey at the window.
yeah.
Uh, and that's kind of where I'm up to. I'm
Okay, so they are
expecting
gone. Yeah,
Billy to
let's
get.
have.
I'm expecting Billy to get because I can't really remember. I have to say, when you were watching season 3, it was all going in one ear and out the other because
It moves so fast,
I
and there's
knew,
like
yeah, I had no context. I knew I was gonna watch The Boys eventually, so I was purposely trying not to like take it all in because I
yeah,
didn't want to like, and I just can't remember anything. So maybe you discuss these things, but I don't remember. I feel like Billy's gonna get absolutely hooked on this new shit or having powers and become what he hated. Um, I don't know how the son's gonna grow up. I'm unsure where that kid's going, if he's gonna go in the right direction or the wrong direction. Uh, Intrigued the fact that Homelander's realizing he can do whatever the fuck he wants, and them trying to hold shit over him doesn't. He's revealed like, that shit ain't gonna work because what you do, you release it to the world, and I just go on a rampage and kill everything. Like, how are you gonna stop me? Like, do you really want to unleash that onto the world? Yeah, fuck you. I'm in charge. Um, I don't see. I see Huey dying. I don't think he's gonna make it. That or he's gonna start juicing on the green shit. I Homelander's got to get taken down. Starlight, I also think might die. She's in way above her head. Keeps thinking she's in control and then realizes she's so far from control. Um, don't fully trust the Colonel. I think she's still hiding shit. I'm trying to think what Frenchie and the girl.
yeah,
I think Frenchie's gonna die saving her in some
okay.
situation. I don't know. She's gonna get some. Well, she hasn't. I don't know. She'll go on a rampage or something maybe. Um, I I see Wagner. I can't remember the company name now.
Vought.
Vought. um, I see Vought like crashing and burning. Like all this shit's gonna come out and they're just gonna it's gonna crash and burn. But then shit's gonna
Interesting.
get sold to the military on the sly under a different
I'm
name.
pretty sure after next episode,
Some of
you're
this
gonna
shit's
have a
gonna.
much better idea of what's going on.
Okay, I'm probably about to get hit with like a twist.
Um, Not necessarily a twist. I think it just tidies up like them
Weird
things that could
things.
go one of two or three ways.
Yeah, okay.
I'm pretty sure the next episode is going to tidy up a bit of that for you. Um,
Oh, I had the deep came back. I had the
the
squid
deep is
scene.
fucking
I
hilarious,
had
man.
well, I saw the scene of him staring at the tank, wishing like clearly wishing it was the squid. Um and then he has to eat. So I've seen the scene of him eating the squid because I've seen a VFX breakdown of it. um because the guy that worked on that scene, he was on like Corridor Digital. He did like a breakdown and explained like they looked at, is it from Godfather when he eats the squid? It's one of the old like mafia films where they ate an actual live squid. Um, they looked at a lot of that to recreate sort of it. So I knew about him having to eat the squid. Um, yeah, interest.
The show doesn't pull its punches.
No, and there's been a lot of interesting character developments, like
Yes,
and how characters have changed in
I would
different
say
ways.
it's one. Bearing in mind how like in reality it's like you're what 21 hours in.
Yeah,
Bearing in mind how much characters have changed in that time, and it doesn't
in like
feel
a
rushed
couple of
at any point.
months.
Yeah, it's really good. I'm excited for you to finish, and I think the back half of this series isn't as batshit crazy, which is what I enjoy the most about the boys at times, just the batshit insanity of it.
Yeah.
But the storytelling in the back half of the series is really solid. Um,
Well,
so
yeah,
yeah, I think over the next couple of episodes, you're going to really, really start to go right. I see how this is shaping up.
developing. Yeah,
Yeah. Um, and you've still got Hero Gasm to come.
yeah. Obviously, I remember you talking a lot about that.
Yeah,
So
that
I
was
know
the episode
I've
the internet was ready
already
for.
double checked what that's episode 6.
Yeah,
So I'm mentally preparing for that.
yeah. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm genuinely, as much as I like am excited for you to watch The Boys. So that means when The Boys comes around again, we can
Yeah.
watch it alongside each other. I'm more excited for you to catch up so that we can get talking about Gen V, because Gen V has the ability to surpass The Boys for
Well,
me.
yeah, I think from now what I've learned in The Boys and like people, it's all just fabricated. All the soups are
Yeah,
fabricated, and like they're doing game shows that are all scripted, which is also a dig at like everyone's saying like X Factor and those sorts of shows are
yeah.
scripted. Um, I'm expecting Gen V to kind of dive more into that, so I'm
But
looking forward to it.
yeah, yeah. It'll be good. It'll be good.